If only you could just see that all the time instead of me having to move the damn camera. What is going on, dudes? This is... Jesus Christ. No, it's not him. This is VaporTheGamer, and welcome back to another FNAF reaction. So, this YouTuber by the name of RyeToast has uploaded a FNAF theory recently today. It surrounds the most recent FNAF book leaks from Tales From The Pizzaplex number 5, the Boobiedots Conclusion. There's something really cool that gets talked about in there, and we don't know a whole lot about, but it says GGY. So I think we get some crazy context on Gregory. You'd be like, why Gregory? He's just a kid. He's annoying. Well, I know that much, but he might actually be the villain. Now, this is just a theory, but I'm going to react to it and see in the comments what you guys think specifically is going on here. But for now, it's just a theory. Let's get into it. Everything will be linked in the description down below, so you can check everything out for yourself, obviously, along with RyeToast's channel for creating this amazing theory. It looks pretty complex. It's about 17.5 minutes long, so make sure you get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your coffee, get your drinks, get your dogs. No, you are the dog. You're not going to get one. Someone could play on this bad boy. In 3, 2, 1, bam.
I know it's a book, but hold on. GGY from the new Tales of the Pizzaplex book just blew Security Breach wide open. And we have to talk about it. No time to waste. Put on your apron slices. Let's bake ourselves a theory. Okay, for those not in the know, the Tales from the Pizzaplex books have been pretty forthcoming in their canonicity to the game's timeline. Many of you may know that the Silver Eyes and the Fazbear Frights novels take place in their own canon timeline. It's the book's timeline with the game timeline. They're not directly canon to one another, but some elements remain the same or lend themselves to explain parts from other timelines. Some things in the books can explain the games and vice versa. We've gotten very little word about how that would work with the Tales from the Pizzaplex books though. However, some of these stories seem very important, and a lot of them seem pretty one-to-one with the games. We even get a story detailing how Burntrap may have been delivered to the Pizzaplex in the first place. Ooh. So when we got to see the story list for this new book coming in March, our jaws collectively dropped when we saw one title in particular. GGY. Is this a story that'll finally tell us more about Gregory? Originally, we had to wait until March 7th, but the incredible Tom on the Reddit Discord, link in the cards, did a live reading. So now we have all the details. There's a Reddit Discord?
Am I really that ignorant?
Juicy. So let's go over a brief and summarized version of the live reading that Tom did. Tony, a 12-year-old middle schooler, is assigned a group project where he has to write a story about a mystery. He wants to find one in the real world, and him and his friends choose to do it with pen names. Tony goes by Tarbell, his one friend goes by Boots for Puss in Boots, and his other friend, a new kid with unruly brown hair, goes by Rab, short for Dr. Rabbit. In search for a real-life mystery to write about, Tony finds that a lot of the arcade machines at the Pizzaplex have unreasonably high scores, all with the initials GGY. So he starts to ask around to see if he can figure out who this GGY is. First, he asks some arcade goers, these two girls who go by KXT and CRF on arcade machines. They point him to a kid named Axel. He doesn't know. He then goes to an employee. The employee has to deal with something, but the employee tells Tony his theory on who GGY is. He thinks that a kid probably stole a security badge to get in after hours, because not only does GGY have impossibly high scores, no one has ever seen this kid. As Tony started to scheme, he noticed that Glamrock Freddy was just deadpan staring at him. Like he walked up to him, stopped, and just stared at him in a cold, weird, robotic way. So he got freaked out and he left. He's 12 years old. When he got home though, he made a bunch of forum accounts to look for any more information. Eventually, somebody DM'd him, warned him that he was in over his head, but told him to DM them again tomorrow for more information. The next day, Tony steals a security badge himself to get access to the databases. He then searches for GGY and found out that someone under the username GGY did in fact get a play pass, essentially a Dave & Buster's charge card, but it's been modified. So much so that it could essentially be used as a security badge to get into the building. He also found out that GGY's badge was used to let in somebody named Mary and two more people, someone with the letters RAE and someone with the letters TRE, all of which were after hours at separate times. He leaves that kiosk to find that Glamrock Freddy is just straight up following him. So again, he runs away. He DMs the forum person again and they say to meet up at the high school. When he goes there, it's actually CRY. Crystal, the girl from the arcade way back in the beginning. She tells him again that he's way over his head, but she tells him why she knows this. She's a bit of a hacker herself, and she hacked into the animatronics one day to try to figure out how they worked. But when she was in there, she noticed a lot of weird protocols that would have them do actions that they don't normally do. And throughout these protocols, sort of like a signature, the letters G and Y were all over them. So she knows whoever this GGY is an incredibly talented hacker. Tony writes all of this for his assignment on his mystery about GGY. While Tony was writing the story, he overheard on the TV that the school guidance counselor Mary Schneider was still missing, and he shows it to his friends Rab and Boots. Rab sees it, doesn't make an expression, puts it in his backpack and says that he'll help work on it later. Later on, Tony finally puts together that the Mary that's missing could be the very same Mary that went on GGY's pass. So he sneaks into the school, into the librarian's office, and gets into the school database. He finds out that the school has actually gone through 4 guidance counselors since the Pizzaplex opened. Mary was the first, and then 2 more went missing before the current one they have now, Raylan and Trina, matching the other 2 names that were on GGY's pass. Tony wonders if the counselors caught on to GGY's plans and planned to turn him in, but then he brought them to the Pizzaplex to silence them. The next day, he gets his story back, and it's completely ruined. Now it's about this fantasy wizard. All of this was Rab's doing. He calls Boots Ellis by his real name and said he's done with the pen names because he's so mad about their friendship. Tony gets detention for sneaking into the library the day before, but likely he got detention from a snitch because he was outside of the cameras. Then, while he's in detention, Rab comes in to talk to him, or since he's still mad at him, he calls him by his real name, Greg. Gregory apologizes for changing the story, but then convinces Tony to cheer him up by bringing him to the Pizzaplex.
Come on.
I need to figure out who that was. That was not me out there because I'm in here. I can't be in 2 places at once. I'm not 2 people. I gotta find a way to contact the outside.
This is an ad.
This story is a lot.
Jeez,
and it's
finally.
a bombshell.
Sorry, man.
I mean,
I'm here for the theory.
So that's our ingredients. Let's mix them. To bullet point it super simply, a new kid at school with unkempt brown hair and the name Gregory is hacking into the arcades and animatronics and possibly killing counselors. So right away, this
crazy,
pretty much
man.
confirms that Patient 46 is Gregory. After all, Patient 46 is described to be a child, an expert hacker, and actively messing with the Pizzaplex. This all fits perfectly. Frankly, the only thing that goes against it now is that some translations used a female pronoun when referring to Patient 46, but that could just be a mistranslation or something that didn't come across on the translation team. So if that's the only thing going against it, it's not very strong evidence. But Gregory being Patient 46 is huge for the story of Security Breach, and also wildly confusing. By all accounts, Patient 46 is working with Vanny, possibly even manipulating her. So if that's the case, why the hell do we see Gregory hiding from her for the entire game? And why does he fight Afton if he's working for him? Something isn't adding up here. While we think about that, let's go over some other information we got from these books. Straight away, there's a fan theory that I need to quash. I've seen some people saying that Crystal might be the girl on the cover of the Ruin poster. Frankly, I think this is from people who didn't read the live reading from Entom, because Crystal's a high schooler. That's not a high schooler, that's a little girl. Although, I do think GGY tells us who this girl might be. I didn't mention it because it's not important to the plot of GGY, but that's why I think it's important to the plot of Security Breach. When the employee had to go deal something, he had to deal with a girl named Amelia with pigtails freaking out about Fruity Maze giving her game over, kicking it and screaming. She eventually gets dragged out of the Pizzaplex. It's a weird scene because it has nothing to do with anything else in the story, but the fact that she's directly described and pointed out and then left as an open-ended bookmark makes me think that she's the perfect candidate to be this girl with pigtails that we see in the Ruin poster. This book also seems to imply that Gregory had some sort of security pass to freely go throughout the building before Security Breach, but during Security Breach he doesn't have it. Someone must have deactivated it or taken it away. Someone like Vanessa, who's on the security team. But if that's the case, we have to again ask why? What made Gregory turn if he was evil and now isn't? Was he ever evil at all? Did he ever turn from being evil? Is it all an act? It just doesn't make sense yet. Kind of like watching this far into the video without hitting the subscribe button. Just saying, doesn't make any sense. I'm just saying. We've got
a point. He's
then
got
again,
a point.
Look at the Ruin poster.
Cats definitely
Gregory
make me want to
saying,
subscribe.
"Help me." Is this a trap by Afton? Is Gregory actually asking for help? Did he actually turn good? It's unclear. At this point, I was just stumped. So I gave up and went on Twitter. And lo and behold, people smarter than me in this amazing community already came up with some amazing theories. Two of them in particular seem incredibly likely to me. First off, we have @HorrificHymns on Twitter. They go by Ava or T, and their thread is massive. Link in the cards to go check it out. I highly recommend it. But it has to do with proving that Gregory wasn't actually evil in GGY. He just wasn't Gregory. Rather, he was taken over by Afton just like Vanny. She shows this by going into details about the differences between Gregory from the story and Gregory from Security Breach. For clarity's sake, from here on out, when I'm referring to Gregory in the stories, I'll say GGY. But if I'm referring to Security Breach, I'll just say Gregory. She notes that GGY chose the pen name Dr. Rabbit because it just came to him, and he's described as often saying deep, interesting things. What do we hear Gregory say in Security Breach?
I don't know, I'm just a kid.
But for an even bigger difference, in the thread he mentions that GGY as Patient 46 is clearly manipulating Vanessa and working with Vanny. But then we come to Security Breach, and Gregory doesn't even know who Vanessa or Vanny are. He practically can't remember his own name. And he keeps this up even when there's no one around to act innocent for. This possession isn't even a new concept. Ava points out that Vanessa was possessed with the VR machines, so it's possible that the arcade machines could have possessed Gregory. But somehow he was freed right before Security Breach. For more evidence, there is another thread, link in the cards, by Michael O2000. He really goes deep on the therapy logs here, trying to show that Gregory doesn't have to be a robot for any of this to work. The therapist finds records of Gregory's great childhood, something that GGY wouldn't have given, but something that Gregory wouldn't have if he was a robot. In the thread, they also mention that the rewrite that GGY did to Tony's story mentions that GGY was the favorite apprentice of the wizard. This is subtly telling us that Afton has multiple apprentices, and his favorite one is Gregory, because GGY wasn't an apprentice at all. He was a puppet under the total control of Afton. In the thread, they point out that Patient 46 likes disguises because it makes him feel invisible. And that's just what Patient 46 is. A disguise for Afton. Again, a massive shout out to these amazing folks. Go follow them on Twitter and wherever else they are. And with these analyses under our belt, the information from GGY, Security Breach, and Help Wanted, I think we can finally solve exactly what happens to Gregory, Vanessa, and Afton between Help Wanted and Security Breach. Okay. So let's pop this mixture into the oven and watch some horrors rise. I think Afton was working directly through GGY, but I don't think the possession happened from an arcade machine. After all, GGY is a new kid in town, and he came around when the Pizzaplex showed up. We also know that Patient 46 and Vanessa were getting therapy before the Pizzaplex, or at least before and during the Pizzaplex. So the arcades wouldn't have been there yet. At least they wouldn't have been there before therapy started, which, I mean, therapy probably started because of how GGY was acting or just to keep an eye on Vanessa. I think that Gregory was taken over by Afton via a VR headset implemented by Vanny. We have a source code conversation presumably between Glitchtrap and Vanny that ends with, "Have you selected one? I have." I think this is what they're talking about. They need to get Glitchtrap out of the VR game before it publishes so that they can transfer him into something more secure. Gregory was sort of a vessel for Afton, and with Vanny in the physical world to ensure that Gregory couldn't escape like the last two tried to, this would have been a perfect transfer, leading to Gregory being fully taken over by Afton, turning Gregory into just a puppet, turning him into GGY. That way, GGY is able to hack into Fazbear Entertainment and get Vanessa the job, because Afton is the one doing it. Afton can personally see and implement the hacking and manipulating of the animatronics and the arcade machines to make sure that they're ready to take the Glitchtrap virus. He even modified the animatronics to watch over and protect Gregory and Vanessa, because he knows that GGY's body needs to stay safe and Vanessa's job needs to stay intact for this plan to work. He doesn't want to risk his entire existence, so he takes his time to make sure that the defenses are down and that the burn trap corpse is put together enough to take the Glitchtrap virus. Finally, the night arrives. Glitchtrap and Vanny are ready to implement the Glitchtrap virus. All the other human staff have been killed, fired, or sent away, and it's just Vanny and GGY. It was time to take the Glitchtrap virus out of GGY and put it into the Pizzaplex. But when Glitchtrap leaves Gregory, Gregory wakes up, dazed and confused, and just runs away. At this point, the Glitchtrap virus is in all the animatronics and spreading through the arcade machines. Afton, trying to find Gregory, tests out his new abilities in Glamrock Freddy and searches for him. Finally, he spots Gregory in the crowd, but here's the kicker. Glamrock Freddy was programmed to protect the body of GGY, and the Glitchtrap virus just said to go capture it. So suddenly we have two directly competing objectives: get Gregory and protect Gregory. That's why Freddy shuts down, but then he reboots into safe mode, flushing out the Afton virus, and thus the beginning of Security Breach. That's why Vanessa insists that tonight is not the night to mess with her. Tonight was supposed to be the night they bring back Afton. That's why Freddy shuts down. That's why Gregory has a hard time remembering his own name at the beginning of the game. He's been unconscious for who knows how long. And that's how Gregory, as Patient 46, can have a good childhood but seem homeless. Because at this ending, he's not homeless. He just woke up somewhere he's never been before, confused and scared. He just went off to hide. As far as he's aware, he got a fun opportunity to test out a new VR game, and he woke up with no idea where he was, surrounded by people trying to kill him. This is quite possibly the strongest I've felt about a theory about Security Breach. And we have GGY, Entom, Michael O 2000, Ava, and the whole community to thank for it. So what does this mean for Ruin? I still think it's Afton and Vanny trying to get a new victim to brainwash. I go more into that here, but be gentle. Some of the details are going to be wrong. I didn't have GGY and some other theorizing that we've done since then. But for now, let's thank the best patrons, the Toasted Slices, Emberisk, Zenith, Raven Eris, Charlie Bean, Lovey Puppy, Stormachow, Just BKZ, Chickpea, Lola Fembo, The Viper 26, Lehan, Dionysus, James Reiner, Luce Harriet, Emily De La Sierra,
oh my, okay. That was actually pretty cool and makes me think Security Breach was actually filled with lore, and that makes so much more sense. That really made a lot of sense because we never really got why Gregory is there. He just is there and he has no idea either, and he's trying to escape. So that one ending, okay, showing us that Gregory is homeless and he's, you know, in a box in the middle of an alley. He woke up that way. And going back to Help Wanted, that one time when you put the mask on, Glitchtrap is talking to Vanessa, and in that source code where they're having a little conversation and it asks, have you selected one? And she says, I have. That was well before Security Breach. So this had to have been because of that. She was trying to possess Gregory so that Afton could be transferred over to him so that he could be in the Pizzaplex and then have all the animatronics, you know, also hacked in. Same with the arcade machines. That's why Gregory has no freaking idea what's going on. So yeah, essentially, that theory was saying that Gregory was possessed by Afton, and that's how Afton ended up in there. That's pretty cool, man. Well, guys, that was me reacting to the most recent FNAF theory done by RyeToast. I've actually never heard of this guy before, and that was a pretty complex theory, very underrated channel, and I suggest you go check this video out as well. And this was titled, We Finally Solved Security Breach. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you have any other theories of your own that you want to implement about this story and all, tying from the books to Security Breach, let me know down there as well. I would love to hear about it. And everything else will be in the link in the description down below, so you can check everything out for yourself. Go subscribe to RyeToast if you enjoyed this. It seemed like a pretty complex theory, and I would love to see more. So like it if you enjoyed, subscribe for some more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. So, bye!